Hello YouTubers, welcome back to Brainbank TV, and this is Football Index Videos 5, and we're just helping out people who are new to the platform, who struggle with understanding what's actually going on with regards to understanding this infrastructure behind stuff that's going on in Football Index, and being able to sort of get ahead and find a system that works, and anything really relating Football Index and improving your portfolio is what I try to release on YouTube as part of some of the contents that I do. So on this video, I've released a fair few videos now, about four in total, ranging in different sort of time scales with regards to the video length. But in today's video, I thought I would bring something quite different per se, just to give you guys some sort of insight as to people. This is mainly for people who are just new to the index, who don't know too much about trading or investing in general, and who just want to have a better overview as to how profitable or how how beneficial it is to be part of this phenomenon that's currently going on at the moment with the Football Index platform. As for me, from the very first day I saw this platform about six months ago now, I completely fell in love with it. It's been absolutely brilliant, really. It's like a stock market's toy, a stock market trader's toy, kind of. It's sort of a platform that mirrors stock market to a T. Quite honestly, I am very impressed with how far they've gone to kind of give off that illusion of a proper investment um, infrastructure. So, on that note, basically, what I'll be doing today is just showing you guys the potential returns over the years on Football Index, trying to clear people's minds when it comes to, is Football Index right for me? Should I be putting my money into this? Should I not be putting my money into stocks? Should I be doing something else to make money? And that question is what I'm trying to answer in this video today. I'll be showing you guys some stats and hopefully explaining it to a point where it does make sense and hopefully can enlighten you guys, and you can then make a proper informed decision whether or not it's worth your investments, really. So yeah, before I start with the actual video, I'm just going to show you guys a brief overview of my portfolio so far. There's not been that much going on. It's fluctuated back and forth between minus 1.303% and where it is currently at 0.92%, minus 0.92%. So it's fluctuated between there, back and forth. Not really had any headwinds yet. I've only had 10p dividends so far. I've got 1718 in my balance left. And the cost of my portfolio is 84.06. I paid for it, and it's currently worth 83.28. So that's kind of an overview. I've got players from all around the world. Mainly, I'll probably say about 70% of my portfolio is based on players in the Premiership, and I would say maybe a further 30% of that 70% is probably based in Arsenal because I'm an Arsenal fan. So that's what I have. I've got numerous players in here. I did collect a few centre backs or defenders in general because their values on the index is atrocious, really. I suppose they don't get any performance based. They do get performance based dividends, but with regards to the fullbacks, they score a lot more goals and stuff like that. So they're almost outfield players these days, fullbacks. So I'm guessing that's why centre backs just don't crawl up in value. I don't know how well that's going to stay the same, but essentially, I because of that, I've bought quite a few centre backs in my portfolio. But anyways, moving on, I just wanted to give you guys an overview, just so you know that I do have a portfolio. It's not following any specific strategy per se. I've bought players of rising stars. I've bought tried and tested names. I've bought experience in the game, like people of history and stuff like that. So it's just a mix and match without any real decisional bias as to how I came up with those players and when to buy them, basically. But I will be getting into that. I will be making videos, maybe potentially comparing different strategies. and talking about maybe because the platform I was on on the phone to Football Index regarding this. I spoke to them regarding the potential of managing different types of portfolios using different strategies, which is something you can do in the stock market just by moving over to a different broker or setting up a different type of trading stock account with your broker. But they said outright it can't be done. The laws will only permit each user to own one account at a time. So for that reason, it's very difficult to try and manage different portfolios with regards to different strategies and see whether a certain strategy works better than the other and whatnot. So it's quite difficult to try and navigate through that using one platform. Um, using one platform. So what I might do is maybe potentially do videos where I organize a strategy and then buy the players hypothetically in my spreadsheet and then track their performance over a certain period of time and then report on those performance in comparison with the strategy that I will be using on my personal spreadsheet. So that's something I'm thinking of doing. So essentially, I'll be comparing my live portfolio strategy with hypothetical strategies and then seeing how well they do over time. If that's something you're interested in, do let me know. Leave your comment, and I will definitely be looking into doing something like that. But just to continue on now, because we've wasted a bit of time talking about stuff that isn't got to do with this video. But in any case, I hope there are some stuff that's helping you out here. Moving on to the actual reason we're here today. I'm just going to run through some data sets with you guys, and hopefully you kind of follow um, what it is I'm trying to achieve or what it is I'm trying to show you guys based on that. Right, we're going to start with the FTSE index. We're going to start with the FTSE index. I'm not 100% sure how much I'm allowed to show these graphs here. I hope I don't get copywritten for this because this isn't something you're told about. You kind of have to go out and find out these things. But anyway, I'm just going to explain the graphs briefly and explain exactly what kind of comparison I'm going to be doing here today. So essentially what I'm doing is um, comparing the football index as a whole, certain statistics about the football index, and comparing that to certain statistics in the stock market. And to be precise, I'm comparing that to statistics from the FTSE 100 stock market, which is the index that tracks the top 100 companies in the UK. And that's what I'm going to be doing today, is just to give you guys an idea. If you're like me, who before putting in some money into the index was contemplating starting up a new portfolio with a stock account and then investing that way, and then I ended up choosing the football index. And honestly, the reason I chose the football index is why I'm doing this video today, because I've seen some potential based on what I've read from the charts, and I'm hoping to portray that potential over to you guys, and hopefully you can understand what's going on. So basically, this is the FTSE. The FTSE is kind of similar to the FTSE 100 or any other index per se, really. It's a tracker. It tracks all of the players in the football index. Now, I'm not particularly sure as to how those criteria are met and at what point those players then shift out of those top of the FTSE index. I actually, at this point as well, I couldn't actually tell you if this actually tracks every single player on the index or maybe the top two. I don't think it's the top 200 because it would have just been one of the index at the bottom left-hand corner, as you can see here. But I think this tracks the whole players on the index as a whole. And these fluctuations on the green lines you can see behind the line graph. The line graph shows the price from zero. And we're at the point of inception of the FTSE index, which is what you can see in front of you. I think this was started off in the 2015, and it started with a base currency of 1,000, right? And this is currently at 150 something thousand, right? Hopefully, with comparing it to the FTSE 100, which I'll be showing you in the next chart, that would explain to you or show you visually how much potential the FTSE has managed to gather over the last 5 years of inception. It's absolutely insane. If you actually put it into context and then manage to compare it, it is absolutely insane. It's one of the most insane things I've seen since I stumbled upon Bitcoin. But anyways, going back to the chart, um, this has gone from 0 to 150 something. I can't really tell you exactly what that figure is right this minute because you have to scroll up on the top left-hand corner. Just a shout out to the producers of this report. This is from Index Gain. For those of you who don't know, they're a very good platform for analyzing football index players and statistics and making informed buy and sell decisions of those information. I'm not a promoter for the platform. I genuinely love the platform. They answered a ton of questions I had before I joined the platform when I was just going off data I found on Football Index. They answered a lot of those questions, and I've been absolutely impressed with the platform. Hence, I've had to get a paid membership. But anyways, going back to this, this has exponential gains over time, right? It's growing so much. If you look on the left-hand charts, right, and maybe picked a date, say for instance you weren't too sure as to maybe you're not quite sure how to read a line chart or a graph like that, then you could potentially scroll on the left-hand side on the chart on the spreadsheet kind of thing, and it will show you exactly what percentage gain has happened between specific periods of times. And this is absolutely one of the most ridiculous graphs I've seen. It's just from bottom left hand corner to top right. That is a trend that doesn't seem to be failing so far, and it's mind blowing really. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you guys, just to see if this helps you understand that the FTSE, which monitors and tracks players on the football index as a whole, has exponentially grown over time and continues to grow over time. I mean, that to me would be number one reason why this has potential for any of you doubters out there. Right, I'm going to move on to the second screen. This is the FTSE 100 all-time share movement. As we discussed, the FTSE 100 is the index that tracks the top 100 UK companies, depending on what sector. It doesn't. I don't think it's sector specific. It's just in general the biggest and it tracks them based on market capitalization. That's just how much they're worth as a whole. Now, this is the graph, and I just wanted to show you this because this one is pretty much similar to the graph we've just looked at here. Now the FTSE is actually mirrored to the FTSE 100 or the FTSE in general. And the reason I say mirrored, it doesn't actually follow exactly what that's doing. It doesn't follow companies, it follows players. But the essential principle behind how it works is pretty much the same. And if you can see here, I showed you here that the FTSE started at 0 and is currently on 150 something thousand after a 5-year history duration. Now in the next video, we've got an index that tracks the top 100 companies in the UK that started in 1984 or 1964. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's 64. So 1964 at a base value of 1,000 as well. And can you see these dips in here? Can you see all these dips, right? These are returns, right? These are the market taking back what it's given to everyone, right? And you barely see that in the chart I just showed you guys here. Look how smooth that is compared to this, right? And this is over a long time compared to how long the FTSE has been going. And you can see those retracements. These are where it peaks and it had to shed some of those gains. And we've not seen that so far with the FTSE. We've not seen that whatsoever so far. And for me, yes, you probably will get to a point where the FTSE would then level off and start dropping off and maybe giving back some of those gains and then gaining up again. But to me, that will be down to a tail off or a football index hitting a barrier when it comes to subscriber base, right? So the more the subscriber base keeps growing, the potential, the footy has to keep going up as well. That's how I look at it, right? And currently, as far as I'm aware, Football Index has nowhere near remotely close to what they should have as a subscriber base in the niche industry they're in, which is football stock market. Although it's gambling, but in the broader scheme of things, they've got so much market share to take from companies like Paddy Power, Ladbrokes, and whatnot. Because yes, you're gonna get the traditional people that love the football accumulators and whatnot, but as smart, clever investors, people who have maybe bits of experience trading or any type of technical experience whatsoever might find this more of an interesting to do and find more value in this. And as a result, this index will continue to grow until that peak point of subscriber gets. That's what I believe anyway. Do leave your comments, leave your thoughts on that, and I'll be sure to reply. But that is my understanding of how the index would peak off and why you would start to see some major retracements in it. Why that value is 150 something thousand at the moment is beyond me. I couldn't answer that, right? And I've actually put out a question to Football Index to see if actually people can actually buy into the footy, which is something I don't know about yet. I've not fully got a response I'm happy with yet, so I don't know. Not that I can afford to buy into the footy, it's just the general information because you can buy into the footy. So, or you could buy into indexes, ETFs that track the footy, the FTSE. So that's essentially where I'm going with this. Now I'm going to move on to the next chart. Okay, we've just looked at this. This is currently sat at 8,000, sorry, 6,420, 62.55. And obviously comparing that to what we have here on the footy, which is 150 something thousand at the moment, is incomparable really. Now we're going to move on. The next chart we're looking at, this is just to give you a brief just a brief overview of the kind of returns you would see for from some of the indexes that we have on the London Stock Exchange, right? So we've got the FTSE 100, which tracks the top 100 companies on the London Stock Exchange. You've got the FTSE 250, which tracks the top 250 companies, and the FTSE All-Share, which tracks basically the whole of the FTSE as a whole. So any company listed in the London Stock Exchange under the FTSE then goes into that category of All-Share. So anyways, the returns, as you can see, I was just talking about some of the returns some of these players have been getting on Football Index and whatnot, and trying to compare, right, the returns of those players and stock market and whatnot. And as you can see here, and you'd probably understand where I'm going with this a little bit later when I start showing you some of the figures from Football Index, but you can see here, you don't have any returns higher than 10% here, right? This is the dividend yield, by the way, right? Annual total return, look at that. Nothing more than 20%. In fact, you lost minus 1.32% on this on the FTSE 100 over that period, 2015. You lost minus 8.73% in 2018. So you can see they do range. You can make money from trading these. And traditionally, any current account wouldn't give you some of the returns you get from the stock market. Hence, a lot of people trade that. But in comparison to Football Index, this is literally a joke. Percentage-wise, Football Index is right up there with what I class as something having true potential to generate you wealth, right? I don't know how long the platform is going to be on for. I don't know if they could make changes that could potentially kill the platform completely. But as long as Football Index is alive, and as long as they continue to improve that platform and make the business environment better for traders in general, you're gonna see outrageous returns compared to the stock market. You will always see those outrageous returns. Now we're going to move on to the next chart. Now this is just a brief overview of 30 of the most recent companies as of 2020 in the top 100 FTSE 100 top 30 companies, right, as of this year 2020. I think they evaluate the the criterias or the members of that FTSE 100 every or quarterly, and the criterias I don't want to get into that too much, and I don't know all of it too much. But at the same time, I do know they do those evaluations quarterly to then eliminate some people that don't make the cut. And as far as I'm aware, the FTSE actually includes a little bit more than 100 companies, really. But that's a story for another day. But anyways, the main reason for this chart here, although some of these companies aren't listed on the right hand side, but the chart on the left actually details the top 10 highest return earners of the FTSE 100 and the top and the bottom 10 lowest return earners of the FTSE 100 for last year, 2019, and that's what we're looking at on here. And you can see here, you can see some of the JD is one of the highest earners of the FTSE 100 with 138%, moving down to 98.7 for Aviva. You got 89.7 for London Stock Exchange, who I did not know was actually part of that list. You've got Next 78.1%, Barrett Development 71.4%, and you get the drift with that basically. The percentages, just try and remember these key figures here, and these are the best movers on the stock market, right? Those are the best movers on the stock market. So you're not obviously not gonna expect to get 138% if you don't pick a JD Sport, and you can't pick a JD Sport every day. Everyone knows that, right? No, you can't pick a Max Aarons every day. We all know that. You're gonna have those players who are gonna underperform, right? And as such, you can't just expect to get the highest return possible. So anyway, moving on, I just wanted to show you guys the kind of returns people have been getting from the FTSE, the FTSE on the London Stock Exchange over the past year, and then we can kind of compare, right? So we'll move on to the next chart. And this is the FTSE Index top 7 players and their returns so far. And the reason I said so far is because I couldn't quite group them into yearly periods. I'm still quite new to index gain, so trying to use the platform to group these players wasn't a very easy thing. So I just wanted to talk about their total return so far, right? Their total return so far. Now, their total return, as you can see here, for Jadon Sancho, who's currently the most expensive player on Football Index, has had 1,218% return since inception, right? Opening buy price was 0.71 pence. Guys, 0.71 pence. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe to a lot of people might look at it and think, yeah, well, what's that? It's less than a pound. But imagine owning 100,000 shares of Jadon Sancho with 1,200% gain. That would make you a millionaire, wouldn't it? If you had £100,000 on Jadon Sancho at inception, you would have been £1.2 million rich right now. That's technically what this is telling you, right? Now, that is ridiculously different to trying to compare that to the kind of returns you get from the stock market. It's outrageous, and this is the reason I brought this video out, is to really show any doubters out there, anyone at all who has any doubts regarding Football Index should hopefully turn a bit of a page after seeing this video. And if you ever thought, okay, well, the platform might not be around in a few months, or it might die out, someone might buy it out, another competitor might come out. At the end of the day, football has been around for a very, very long time. A very long time. Now, the fact that Football Index has then come into the scene now, I just don't see it going anywhere. I genuinely believe Football Index is here to stay, and here to stay for the long run. But anyways, let's continue. The second player on here, we've got Bruno Fernandes, midfielder for Manchester United. Just had a move recently. And again, listed at 0.57. I'm actually, that's 57p. I'm not actually sure what dates these are. That's something else I try to get a Football Index to confirm for me. I did want to confirm if the dates started off at the same time it starts on the charts. I know it might be a silly question to some, but you just never know with these um sort of smallish platforms. You don't know what data they're going off on. So I just wanted to confirm that. So at the moment, I don't know when Bruno Fernandes actually listed on Football Index, or realistically any of these players, to be honest with you. But he's currently, or he opened at at 57p, and his value now is £7.46, right? As of when I printed this data up, and his capital appreciation is 1,407%, right? And I wish I could break this down into a yearly thing, and I can almost certainly confirm that I did check Bruno Fernandes a yearly gain. If you held him for a year, you would have been well over 600% up. I'd let that sink in for a quick minute. If anyone understands percentages here, I traded Forex for a while. I'm not, but by no means am I a successful Forex trader. I'm still learning the game. Been learning the game for a long time now. But at the same time, I do have some experience trading it. And in my time, in the 10 years or so I've got myself involved in investments, I've never ever seen returns of 600% in a year, unless you do something stupid like obviously there are numerous ways you can go about making those returns, right? Using leverage, for instance, you could go about making those returns, or taking stupid risks in general, really. But without doing those two things, taking risk and applying leverage, you just won't see 600% return in most investments you're going to put your money into today. That is why, for me, Football Index remains the ultimate place to start your investment career. If you're into stocks and maybe you're deciding whether or not to jump into stocks, I genuinely believe Football Index. You might not have the best experience as a football guy, or maybe you might be more inclined to a technical side. Maybe you're like me. I watched some football. I played football. I had an extended football half a career in semi-pro at a junior level. But at the same time, you could then go on to do better things, depending on whether or not you like football or not. I mean, you might not like football. You might like football. I don't particularly watch a lot of games. A lot of my friends know way more players than I would could that I could actually spit out right now. And the only reason I like it this much is because I already have some trade and technical analysis background. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm just gonna check. Oh, right. I do have a couple more um, charts to go through. I'm just gonna breeze through these real quick. The first one is the top 100 players, top 10 players tracker on Football Index. You can buy into the top 10 players, right? This is currently at almost £69 or something. Last time I checked, it was around £62. It's been growing exponentially as well. You can see the graphs. They're pretty self-explanatory. As long as you can see a chart going from bottom left-hand corner, as you do on this, if you can see this graph going from bottom left-hand corner without any real deterrent to one side of that half of the chart, then the chart is a healthy chart, or it looks healthy anyway. Now we're going to move on to the next one. This tracks the top 25 players on Football Index. This is a lot smoother, this chart. I'm guessing that would change a lot less than the top 10 would. And obviously you've got the top 50 players on Football Index. This is quite smooth too. And this is worth, and they keep going up in price as you go along. So this is currently at almost 70 quid a pop. You've got the next one, which is almost at £137 a pop. Seriously, top 50 players, that's £216. Seriously. I mean, if this doesn't smell value, I don't know what else does, guys. Seriously, £216. This was, look at that. Look at where it was in 2018. Look at that. That was 2 years ago, guys. That was 2 years ago, right? That was 2 years ago. And the next one is the top 100 players. This is even smoother, this one. And this is currently at almost £350. So, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that today. I don't think there's any other thing to discuss. But hopefully that has helped anyone new who wanted to kind of understand what to expect from Football Index, what kind of returns they could potentially be looking at, and stuff like that. There is a lot of money to be made on this platform. I want to admit that there is. I can see money being made on this platform, and just to put that out there too, I only just found out a day or two ago. I was listening to a podcast which I cannot remember for the life of me right now, but I just thought I'd put that out there because I've always wondered how much some of these players get traded on, right? So what I mean by that is, as Football Index as a whole, the trading community of Football Index, how much do they have on a certain player? Now I found out that Saka, who plays for Arsenal, the youth wonder kid who's just blown onto the scene this year, has so far this season had more than £2 million invested on him or traded on him on the platform. Now, as an ending note, if that doesn't explain the scale of what's going on this platform, I don't know how else to explain that. Saka, who's barely just turned 18, who's someone who the general public did not know about probably 8 months ago, is all of a sudden had £2 million thrown on him on the platform, and that's Saka. Now imagine what Neymar has trading on him. Imagine what Kevin De Bruyne has traded on him, right? That's just one player I've named. £2 million. £2 million on one player, right? And so far I've the ranking list on Index Gain, the player ranking that I've got to so far or I've seen is at 1,400 and something. So as far as I'm aware, I didn't even know this, but Football Index genuinely. Oh, there we go. Ben Scherf. I'm guessing this is his ranking. I'm guessing that's his ranking, but I'm guessing there'll probably be at least 1,600 players on the index, right? I mean, just put that into context how you wish, how you feel free to. But on that note, I'm just going to end that video here because I don't want to go on for too much longer. I've extended this video too long. But I hope I've been clear with my information today and it's come across in a manner that is slightly easy to digest anyway. But if you have any questions regarding information I put out today, or you have any queries regarding the information I put out today, please do let me know. Leave me a message, leave me a note, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But on that note, I'm going to be leaving it on that today. And I'll be releasing a video shortly trying to explain this before I go. This is the last thing I'm going to mention. This figure here, I genuinely don't know what that is. I've not been able to find out what that is. I've emailed Football Index to tell me what this information is. And when I do, I'm going to be making a short video on that just to tell you guys what that information is, because I feel like, yes, you're telling me how much the index is there, but what is this figure? And if the index is worth that, why is that not a currency value? Does that not have a currency value attached to it? Or is it just the value? Right? So anyway, I'll try and do a video on that at some point when I get the information and it's information that makes sense to me. I'll be doing a video for that. But in any case, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching my video, and do look up for some more content as they do come about. And yeah, thank you so much and hope you guys have a lovely evening. Bye for now.